Good morning. Welcome to Earth Optimism Charlotte, a sister event of the Smithsonian's Earth Optimism, designed to highlight local, replicable solutions to climate change and to inspire individuals to do something for the planet. My name is Michelle Miller-Hauk, and I am the Chief Wonder Maker at Carolina Raptor Center. Today, the whole planet is celebrating the 50th anniversary of Earth Day. The Earth Optimism team has been busy this spring, collaborating to make a big splash for the planet this Earth Day. We are working to bring hope back as a strategy for making change. I want to start our celebration by thanking all of the partner organizations that have helped work through the logistics of moving an in-person event to a virtual one, filmed literally in our own backyards and in our living rooms. Please join me in giving a shout out to Carolina Raptor Center, Catawba Riverkeeper, Trees Charlotte, the Sustainability Office at UNC Charlotte, Sustain Charlotte, the North Carolina Wildlife Federation, Share Charlotte, Charlotte Outdoor Alliance, and Catawba Lands Conservancy. Special thanks to my friends Elif and Katie and the Smithsonian Institution for embracing Charlotte's version of Earth Optimism. Your support has been terrific, and we plan to keep it going in future years. We can't wait to build on today's program and make it even bigger and better next year. What you will see today is a wide variety of solutions that are working in Charlotte to make an impact on the global problem that is climate change. It does not help us to tout doomsday data points without giving people the hope of individual actions and tools for success that they can take home with them. So we hope in the next hour we can provide you with ideas that run the gamut from installing litter getters in area streams to planting a tree, from riding the bus to drinking shade-grown coffee. Sounds simple, right? But simple means doable, and if we all do something, then we make a collective impact and do our part to save the planet. Now, some logistics. The video presentation you will see is pre-recorded, so there will be no ability to ask live questions to the presenters during the broadcast. If you are on the WebEx call, then please type any questions that you have into the chat feature of WebEx, and we will try to answer them through chat during the program. After the program is over, I will moderate any other chat questions, and some of the presenters will be online to answer them. We will take the last question at around 9 o'clock and wrap up after that. The presentation will be available on our YouTube channel and our Facebook page, both at Earth Optimism CLT. Any inquiries after the program is over can be emailed to earthoptimismclt@gmail.com. Please let us know how you'd like to be involved throughout the year and for next year's event. Here is a sneak peek of the speaker lineup for today. We can't wait to get started, and we'd like to thank all of the speakers that prepared videos and graphics for our program today. All right, take it away.
My name is Don Bates. I'm the owner, chief litter getter for the company called Osprey Initiative. We maintain and produce the Litter Getter small stream litter collection trap.
I'm John Searby, the Executive Director of the Catawba Riverkeeper Foundation, and we're here today at the Irwin Creek Greenway at Ray's Splash Planet, and we're gonna watch the crew from Catawba Riverkeeper Foundation clean out the litter getter here in Irwin Creek.
We began our company 4 years ago as a frustration doing volunteer cleanups that the litter just kept coming back after the rain. Had done a lot of volunteer cleanups, came up with the concept of actually intercepting the litter closer to the source. Did a pilot program. I had a different job at that time, did it on the side. And then over the course of a 3-year period, developed a device, won some contracts, and now was very fortunate to be able to do this full time, be able to work in a green, sustainable business. That work has led to our opportunity in Charlotte, North Carolina, and Mecklenburg County. To date, we've installed 3 devices. We have some just tremendous partners between Envision Charlotte, Coca-Cola's behind them, and then partnering with the Catawba Riverkeeper on the maintenance side of these devices. We're currently in waterways adjacent to 3 parks in the Charlotte, North Carolina area.
I'm Wayne with the Catawba Riverkeeper, and I'm out here working with, we partner with Osprey Initiative, so we're cleaning the litter getter back behind me here, and the guys have already started. We had about half an inch of rain, so we're trying to get that trash. It's already collected.
And how's the litter getter work?
So when the water level comes up and the stream starts to pick up its flow, it picks up little bits of trash as it goes along, and that trash starts just slowly making its way down the water. The litter getter has these orange buoys that helps to push that litter into the mouth of its trap here, and then it gets caught inside of that trap. So you can see the guys now pulling that litter out of the trap of the litter getter.
Water tells so much of our history, and if we preserve it and protect it for the next generation, it can really be a vital part of our future. And to see people using the waterways that we're working in with their kids, with their grandkids, being able to tell their story, how that water was important to them in their life, in their childhood, it really is rewarding for us to be able to be a part of that story. So we're excited to be in the Charlotte area. Mecklenburg County, the government side of things, have just got a great vision, and if we can just keep doing, furthering the vision, we think the future is really bright for the long-term protection of the waterways in that area.
Hello, I'm Jennifer Roberts, and I'm here to wish you a happy Earth Day 2020. It doesn't feel like a very happy time in our country right now, or our planet, because of COVID-19. And our hearts go out to all those who are on the front lines, those who have lost loved ones, and those who are sick in this pandemic. But we can't stop celebrating Earth Day and remembering that our relationship with this planet is really fragile. And there is actually a connection between climate change and the current pandemic, because as we come closer and closer into contact with wild exotic animal species through deforestation and urbanization, we're going to have more opportunity for animal viruses to end up in the human population. So we need to love our planet and treat it with respect, and part of that is being an advocate for climate solutions and climate action. We all have a voice, and one of the things that is stopping us from making progress is that not enough people are talking about climate change and talking about how it impacts them personally, telling their stories about how more days of extreme heat mean it's harder for older people to be outside. It's hard for young people to play sports. We are going to see more and more of those warm days. And when there are wildfires and the smoke gets in the air, that's unhealthy. Air pollution harms all of us. There are so many ways that climate change will continue to impact us. But we have the technology, we have the resources to do something. And so on this Earth Day 2020, it's the 50th anniversary of Earth Day. We have come a long way. We don't have our lakes and rivers catching on fire like they did in the 60s, but we have a lot more that we need to do. So be an advocate. And if you're worried about talking about climate and worried about it being controversial and partisan, we have a guide that will help you with that. I work with Eco America, and we actually have guides called Let's Talk Climate. And these offer messaging techniques, ways to reach conservative and progressive audiences, and to keep it nonpartisan, to keep it non-threatening, but to have those common values that we all care about: our health, We all care about having a prosperous future for our children and grandchildren. And with your help being a climate advocate, talking to your local, state, and federal officials by email or phone or on social media, we absolutely can make a difference. So on this Earth Day, 2020, let's have that clear vision to be an advocate for our planet and our future. And one more happy thing for Earth Optimism 2020.
Hey, good morning. I'm Brian Helfrich. I'm the CEO and owner of Summit Coffee, based up in Davidson, North Carolina, and I taste coffee for a living. To make it even more romantic, I travel to some of the most remote parts and climates in the world and meet producers and walk to farms to pick coffee so that I can then taste coffee for a living. Coffee is an agricultural product, and like all the other agricultural products you might find at a farmer's market or a grocery store, it's hard to understand all the certifications and education surrounding what's good, what's not good, what's important. And so I'm going to spend the next couple minutes trying to provide a cursory education regarding coffee production in one particular way that makes a tremendous impact not only on the cup quality, but on the environment. And it's called shade-grown coffee. Shade-grown coffee is how the highest quality coffee producers in the world, and everybody that we source from working with Summit Coffee, grows coffee around the world. You see, usually coffee is grown on full sun plantations, and it makes it easier for producers to tend to their trees, pick their crops, use fertilizers and pesticides to fight off pests and help grow a more robust harvest. But the reality is that stuff's not great for coffee. And not only is it not great for coffee, it's not great for the environment. Not only does coffee not taste good when it's cooked in the full sun, it's essentially cooking it at full temperature at all the time, but it usually requires significant deforestation efforts. Maintaining shade growing practices, however, provides both a forest-like ecosystem and better habitats for the birds than a full sun system does. Both the birds and the shade trees provide ecosystem services to coffee, and these services can replace fertilizer and pesticides, actually saving the farmers money. And so there's a logic that if you use pesticides to produce a more robust crop, that it's a more cost-effective way to grow coffee, and the reality is that's just not true. More birds means more predators of insect pests that can jeopardize a farm's coffee crop. Trees provide a bunch of ecological services that offer both direct and indirect income and payback to the farmers and their environment. Farmers who shade their coffee may be less vulnerable to the effects of climate change, including the increased temperature and rainfall. This year alone, Summit has firsthand seen how the climate change has impacted the coffee harvest calendar. It's in complete disarray, and our partners who all over the world are using shade-grown coffee practices have outperformed all of their peer coffee growers. Furthermore, shade trees on a coffee plantation fix nitrogen in the soil, providing coffee trees additional nutrients. And while the sun-growing systems can have higher yields, as I mentioned, shaded trees easily outperform them in sustainability measurements. In study after study, habitat on shade-grown coffee farms outshone sun-grown coffee farms with increased numbers on the bird species, improved bird habitat, soil protection, erosion control, carbon sequestration, natural pest control, and improved pollination. And that's just the things I can remember off the top of my head. And erosion is a huge concern in some of these coffee growing farms, and again, some of the most remote areas of the world. So maintaining trees with extensive root systems is imperative. Another benefit is the hidden yield for coffee farmers that they get out of shade grown farms. You can grow firewood, you can more successfully plant fruit trees that help feed their families and feed their neighboring families, and also provide an additional cash crop. And the last notable impact of shade-grown coffee, as I mentioned, is on climate change. A study of some 7,000 coffee farmers from around the world predicts that the coffee growing area will shrink by 30% by 2050. That's 30% in the next 30 years. Just think about that for a moment. It's staggering, and it's a big problem. And while the problem isn't going away, shade coffee systems can outperform long-term predictions for carbon sequestration and it honestly makes a difference. So what can you do sitting at home? What you can do is source coffee from a roaster or from a cafe who's transparent about its practices, who works with producers, who understands what's going on at origin. I wish I could be there in person with you guys today to tell this story a little bit better and to share a cup of coffee with you as well. Just like I wish I could be back on the farms in Peru working with their producers and understanding firsthand the challenges they're facing. But I aspire to be both those places again sometime soon. So please stay healthy, stay mindful, and continue to support local businesses. Have a great day.
It's baby season, and you know what that means. There are tons of cute baby animals taking their first steps into the world and exploring the environment around them. Now, as that happens, humans often mistake their wanderings as a sign that they need help, but that actually is not the case for most animals. When animals first take their steps into the world, they're still trying to figure out their surroundings, where to go, and their parents are keeping a watchful eye on them. So if you see a baby animal, the best thing to do is leave it alone. I swear the parents are watching. Animal parents are really good parents, and the baby animals are watching their parents to figure out what to do with life, where to go, what predators to watch out for. If you do find like a baby bird on the ground, there's a couple of things that you guys can do to help those guys. Now, there are 3 different stages when baby birds are growing up. The first stage is called a hatchling. And as the hatchling suggests, it's when they first hatch out of the nest or hatch out of the egg, and they are just itty bitty little, they look like dinosaurs. They don't have any feathers on them, their eyes are closed, they're a little creepy looking. So if you see one of those on the ground, what you can do is simply pick that baby bird up if you don't see any injuries, and put it back in the nest if you know where the nest is. It is just a myth that parents can smell humans on their babies if you pick up a baby bird. That's actually not the case. Birds have a terrible sense of smell. So if you pick up a baby bird, feel free to put it back in the nest and the parents will come and take care of it. Now the next stage is called a nestling, and the nestling are when they still have some feathers, they're a little floofy, their eyes are open, they're a little bit more alert, but they can't really walk, they can't really fly. They're a little bit bigger, but they're not very agile at all. So again, if you see one of those guys on the ground and you don't notice any injuries, you can pick that bird up too and put it back in the nest. And that's just fine. The parents will take care of it right away. Now, if you find a fledgling, the best thing to do is leave those guys alone. The fledglings are the ones who are learning how to fly. They're gonna be leaving the nest, but they don't know quite how their wings work yet. So they're going to be hopping from branch to branch, and just like when humans learn to walk, we are gonna stumble a few times, right? And that's what's gonna happen when fledglings are learning how to fly. Flying takes practice, and so they are gonna end up on the ground a couple of times, and that's okay. So if you see a bird hopping on the ground and it looks like a baby, if it again doesn't look injured, just leave it alone. It's trying to figure out how to fly, how those wings work, how to navigate around the world. Now the parents are still in the trees watching and feeding the baby bird as it needs it. And so again, the best thing to do is leave them alone as they learn how their wings work. What you guys can do is simply keep your pets away from those birds, away from that area, so they can figure out safely how to fly. Now, if you do find an injured bird, you can call your local rehab center and they can walk you through what to do. If it is injured, the best thing to do is talk to the rehab center so they can walk you through how to safely capture it and what to do with that. The best case scenario is leaving baby birds with their parents. Humans don't know how to be parents. Humans don't know how to teach baby birds how to fly, how to teach them to catch food using their beaks or their feet. We don't know how to teach birds how to look out for predators and what the signs of predators are. So truly, leave the babies alone, admire them, be thankful that you have a yard that is a great nesting habitat for those animals. Now, sometimes the nests fall out of trees completely, either by wind or storms, and you don't need to fret, it's just fine. You can build your very own nests to replace the old nests. So if you have a robin's nest in a tree and it falls out and the baby birds are still okay, what you can do is make your nest using household items. Cool Whip containers or other plastic containers do make wonderful nests for songbirds. All you have to do is poke a couple holes in the bottom and safely attach that to the branch or the tree that original nest was on. Wicker baskets are also great for songbirds. If you have one big enough, they might be good for raptors as well. And if you do have a raptor nest that has fallen out of a tree in your yard, all you need to do is use a laundry basket. And again, if you put it in that same branch, in that same tree, the parents will come back and take care of those babies. When you're working with raptors, just watch the feet. The feet are very strong, even as babies. So just safely pick up the birds and you can put them back in the nest where they belong. And the parents can take care of them to make sure that these guys grow up to be healthy, strong birds. So again, if you want to help baby birds, help baby animals, admire them, watch them grow up. It is a lot of fun to see animals grow up to be successful adults. If you do have concerns, you can always call your local rehabber. But animal parents are the best parents when it comes to raising their babies.
Hi, I'm Meg Fensel, the Program Director at Sustain Charlotte. Have you ever thought about the size of your world? It might seem pretty small right now as we're all social distancing, but have you considered that the size of your world is dictated by how far you can travel? If you have a car, the size of your world is pretty big. It's where you can get in that car. But if you don't have a car and the size of your world is determined by how far you can travel on foot, by bicycle, by public transportation, can we think about ways to expand the world for people who don't drive? As we celebrate the 50th anniversary of Earth Day, let's consider a really optimistic idea. Public transportation is freedom. A well-designed transit system of light rail, streetcar, and especially the buses that carry most of our daily riders here in Charlotte can not only set people free from the expense and stress of driving, it can give them the freedom to connect to opportunity and to connect to each other. It can also free our planet from the harmful greenhouse gases that are driving climate change. And now our Transit Coalition coordinator, Tariq Kiley, is going to share a little story about the day that he discovered that transit is freedom.
Around the year 2012, let me tell you a little story. Around the year 2012, I went on a work trip to Chicago. While I was in Chicago, staying in a hotel in downtown Chicago, one of my coworkers wanted to go to the Magnificent Mile to do some sightseeing. It was around 11 or so at night. In Charlotte, North Carolina, I had grown used to the idea of the city shutting down at 10 p.m. So because of that, I asked my coworker, well, how are we going to get to the Magnificent Mile from our hotel room? He told me we're going to take the bus. I said, the buses run this late in Chicago? You know, in Charlotte, where I come from, my experience is that you really couldn't get a decent bus ride past 10 p.m. So he said, trust me, we'll take the bus. So we walked a very short while to the bus stop, and 5 minutes later, a bus pulled up in front of us, and we got on the bus and rode the Magnificent Mile. So we're walking around the Magnificent Mile doing sightseeing, having a great time, and it started to get really late at night. So I started to worry. I thought, I hope taxi cabs run this late in Chicago. And I was so worried, I turned to my coworker and I asked him, well, how are we getting back to the hotel? And he told me, we're going to take the bus back. And I thought, really? It's the middle of the night. Do buses run at the middle of the night in Chicago? But guess what? The bus from the bus stop that we took a short walk to came in 5 minutes. The bus came in 5 minutes. We got on the bus and it let us off right in the front of our hotel. And I went to my hotel room and had a worry-free night. This story is important here because while in Chicago, at first I worried about access to a car or some type of car, a taxi cab. But once I knew that I could rely on a bus, the idea of catching a taxi cab left my mind. The bus system in Chicago, at least for me, was efficient. Now, Charlotte, I believe, can have that same type of efficiency.
When Tariq became a graduate student at UNC Charlotte, he would learn firsthand the importance of an efficient transit system. He tried to walk to the grocery store near campus, but he found that the University City Boulevard was too hazardous to cross on foot, and the transit system in the area at that time wasn't great. But a lot has changed since then. The Lynx Blue Line light rail extension opened in the spring of 2018, connecting the UNC Charlotte main campus to Uptown and beyond.
Now, today, UNC Charlotte students have the benefit of the Lynx Blue Line, and they can ride for free if they're a student. So they have a certain accessibility to the rest of the city that I didn't really have when I was at UNC Charlotte.
Now, at the same time that the Blue Line extension opened, bus routes connecting to the light rail were optimized for better connectivity. And then in October of 2018, CATS completely redesigned the bus network to more efficiently connect people to where they need to go. And that's when my commute got a whole lot better. See, I take the number 16 bus that runs along South Tryon to get from my home near Tyvola and South Tryon to my office, which is just south of Uptown. After the bus network redesign, not only did I have a faster ride on the bus, but buses also came more often, every 15 to 20 minutes throughout the day. Riding the bus is a choice that I feel good about. Riding the bus is good for my wallet. Riding the bus is good for my fellow Charlotteans. The more people ride, the more demand there will be for the transit system to expand and better serve more people and all of us more efficiently. And riding the bus is good for the planet because it reduces my contribution to climate change.
Driving a car as a sole passenger is unhealthy. It's unhealthy for air quality in terms of greenhouse gas emissions, congestion, and inefficient just in the amount of energy it takes to transport persons on low capacity cars versus higher capacity buses. But if we could take a bus without worry, then we would soon forget about our cars, as I forgot about my car while in Chicago.
As our economy recovers from the pandemic, it will be more critical than ever that we have a strong, resilient transit network ready to connect people to opportunities. People who may no longer be able to afford a car, people who may need to find job opportunities on the other side of town from where they live. They'll need to get to and from those jobs safely and with dignity, using a public transit system that's fast, frequent, reliable, and walkable. In closing, we hope that we've inspired you to be a supporter of public transit and to take a bus ride, but please wait to take that bus ride until after the COVID-19 crisis has ended. We need to keep our bus drivers and maintenance staff safe, which is hard to do when a transit vehicle is crowded with riders. So only essential workers and people who need to access essential services by transit should be riding transit right now. Whether you're currently a transit rider or not, we encourage you to consider if riding the bus might work for you as a commuting option. Maybe try riding it once and see how it goes, only after social distancing ends though. We know that Charlotte is a pretty sprawling city and some parts of the city are still hard to access by bus. So if public transit isn't a personal travel option for you, you can still be a vocal supporter of it, so that all of us can simply enjoy the freedom of getting where we need to go. Thank you and have a very happy Earth Day.
Hi, I'm Melissa Hovey with Share Charlotte. And Share Charlotte is an online engagement platform to connect the community with over 400 plus local nonprofits through sharecharlotte.org. This week, April 19th through the 25th, is Do Good Week, powered by Duke Energy, and it's our local celebration of National Volunteer Week. Do Good Week is meant to rally the community around volunteerism and engage with local nonprofits. But due to the crisis we're going through now, we've put a little twist on things, and we've created Do Good Week Home Edition to be able to offer up hundreds of virtual volunteer opportunities from our local nonprofits. So to get involved, all you have to do is go to dogoodweekclt.org and choose from many different and wonderful nonprofits that you can get engaged with and do virtual volunteer opportunities in the safety of your own home. So get out there and do good, CLT.
Oh my, just when I got settled in this pot, I'm on the move again. Where will I be? Will I fit in? Is this really the place where I'll set down roots?
Planting a tree can be great for you, creating shade, increasing property values, adding to the look of your landscape. But for the tree, it can be a bit stressful.
I'll get sun and some shade from the canopy, just the way a good dogwood likes it. But how did I get here anyway?
You want to pick a healthy tree. With most trees, you want a strong, straight leader. That's the trunk. And look in the container. You don't want to buy a tree with roots that circle around and around. Where a tree goes is crucial. Is it a tree that'll thrive better under other trees or in full sun? Should it go near the house or close to the property line? It's important to look up and look down. Look up to be sure that in the future, the electrical lines and your new tree won't meet in a shocking experience or lead to a blackout. And check to see if the tree will leave enough space for the trees that are already there. Then look down. Don't dig near buried utilities, sprinklers, even cable TV. If you're not sure where the utilities are in your yard, call 811.
It looks like there'll be plenty of room for my roots. But is this really the right time for me to be planted?
I'm sure you've heard that timing is everything. Well, that's true with tree planting too. In Charlotte, the planting season is roughly October to March.
Say, don't I need a hole or something?
We'll dig a hole as deep as the root ball and twice the width of it.
Wow, there's some red dirt in there.
The soil here has lots of clay, and it's smart to add organic compost to the hole if your soil is poor quality. Once you've got the hole ready, remove the tree from the pot or burlap and loosen the roots. Then maneuver the tree into the hole, but be careful when grabbing by the trunk. Make sure the root flare, which is the bottom of the trunk just above the roots, is planted at soil level. Check the tree from 2 angles to make sure it's straight. Then you can backfill the hole and tamp it down at least twice. It should be even with the surrounding soil. And it's important to water your new tree immediately after. It'll take about 5 gallons of water for an average medium-sized tree. You'll want to mulch the tree, but no more than 3 inches deep, and no volcano mulching.
Volcano?
Here's the mulch rule. 3 inches deep, 3 inches off the trunk, and 3 feet of area covered. And just so you know, you really don't need to stake most trees.
That's a relief. What else am I going to need to keep growing strong?
A newly planted tree will continue to need water. For the first year, give it 5 to 10 gallons of water each week during high stress times, like a dry, hot summer. A heavy soaking is best. And if it's rained 3 of 5 days, watering isn't necessary. But if the ground is dry to the touch, then it's time to water again. And fertilizer isn't necessary within the first 2 years.
Ah, I can finally stretch my roots into the ground and my branches can soar to the skies. Just wait till I bloom next spring.
How would you like to increase the entertainment value of your backyard while helping wildlife? Hi, I'm Carol Bowie Jackson with the North Carolina Wildlife Federation. Did you know that habitat loss is the biggest threat to wildlife? Fortunately, we all have an opportunity to do something to help. By planting with native plants and providing the basic elements of a wildlife habitat, food, water, shelter, and a place to raise young, you can create an oasis filled with energy and entertainment while also being part of a larger movement across the country to provide this patchwork quilt of habitats that will allow birds, butterflies, and other wildlife to thrive. There's a relationship between native plants and native wildlife that can't be duplicated with non-native plants. So by adding native plants into your backyard, you can create the foundation for a robust food web that will support a large variety of wildlife. If we only replaced half of the 40 million acres of grass that we grow in this country with natural areas filled with native plants, we could add 20 million acres of wildlife habitat. The entertainment value alone is worth it. But the best part is that you are providing critical habitat for wildlife that they need to survive in a rapidly changing world. And then get your backyard certified as a wildlife habitat with the North Carolina Wildlife Federation. It not only gives you bragging rights, but it also gives you an opportunity to talk with your friends and neighbors about what you're doing in your backyard and see if you can convince them to become a part of this patchwork quilt too.
Hey y'all, I'm Haley with the Catawba Riverkeeper.
I'm John Searby, the Executive Director of Catawba Riverkeeper Foundation.
We know that high schoolers today care deeply about our environment and want to make a difference in our local communities.
So we want to invite high school students from all over the Charlotte region to participate in a shark-style competition to share your great idea about environmental problems we are facing today in the Charlotte.
This competition will showcase innovative ideas that tackle local environmental problems, funded by our partners at Catawba Research, $7,500 in scholarship money will be awarded in total, with a grand prize of $4,000 to one hardworking student. Starting on the 50th anniversary of Earth Day, we will begin accepting submissions for what we're calling CLT Future 2020.
To register, go to CatawbaRiverKeeper.org/CLT Future 2020. We'll put the link in the video here.
6 local environmental nonprofits will choose and steward 6 competitors for the final event on September 10th.
This competition will showcase innovative ideas that tackle environmental problems that we face here right in the Charlotte region.
Because high school friends are our future, Charlotte's future.
If you're a high school student grades 9 through 12 living in the 16-county region around Mecklenburg, please register today.
For more information, including who can compete, submission topics, and how to submit, please visit CatawbaRiverKeeper.org/CLT Future 2020.
Good luck. We can't wait to hear what's possible.
We hope that our program has provided a healthy dose of hope and optimism for all of you here in Charlotte. Take these ideas and make them your own. We invite you to make a pledge for the planet. Pick one thing to focus on in 2020. Make a short selfie-style video and post it on our Facebook page at Earth Optimism CLT. Here are some of the pledges that we've already made.
Hi, I'm Kristen from Carolina Raptor Center. I am in my parents' backyard in Cornelius, North Carolina. This year my pledge is to plant more native plants in my own backyard to create a backyard habitat.
Hi, I'm Meg Fensel, Program Director at Sustain Charlotte. One of the most impactful things that we can do for our planet is to drive less. So while I'm social distancing and working from home, I'm going to start a garden. And my pledge for the planet is to grow my own food this summer, so I have to take less trips to the grocery store. And these are my tomato seedlings.
Hello, my name is Mike Lazat. I work for University of North Carolina in Charlotte, and my pledge for the planet is to plant more trees, and that starts with me picking up a new hobby of planting cuttings. I've made about 50 of these so far.
Hi everybody, my name is Jeff Thomas from Queen's University of Charlotte and from the Carolina Raptor Center, and my pledge for the planet this year is to get rid of more invasive species from my backyard to make a better habitat for all sorts of other animals.
Don't forget to tag it, #pledge4theplanet. Then go and live your pledge every day with optimism for a changing world. Enjoy the rest of your day.